Good morning, students. Welcome to Gradeup. Welcome to the free session of Target CSE 2020. Good morning, students. Welcome to Gradeup. Welcome to the session of Target 2022 for CSE for beginners. So in this class, we'll be discussing the role of innovations in the country, the role of the scientific R&D in the country, and how questions can be asked in prelims and mains, okay, related to the innovation sector. We shall be discussing in today's class. Okay, so I understand since you're preparing for 2022, you may not be having the correct idea or correct orientation related to the answers, related to the questions, descriptive questions which are asked for the UPSC. So we'll be discussing one such question. We'll be seeing how from the economic survey questions can be framed, okay, and how you need to answer such questions. Okay, I'll be taking you step by step through this for an answer writing session, and we'll be discussing the chapter 8 of the economic survey through this. Okay, good evening Nandini, good evening everyone. So my name is Teja Sai. I've graduated from IIT Kharagpur and I worked at an MNC for 2 years. Presently I'm teaching UPSC students for last 2 years. So you can follow me on the Gradeup app. There is a follow button. So if you press that, whenever my class is about to go online, you'll be notified regarding it. Okay, so please press the button and connect with me on this journey for UPSC. And the countdown for the exams, UPSC EPFO hardly 66 days. For UPSC CSE 2021, there is only 115 days left. Okay, today the notification has come out. I hope you're aware the UPSC notification has come out today. And there are 712 vacancies only. So as you know, the competition also is as tough. There are more and more people from the private sectors, from various fields who are preparing for the exam. So it's going to be a cutthroat competition and you need the best courses for your UPSC preparation, and the time also is very less. So please pull up your socks and get ready for the proper UPSC preparation. And for people of UPSC 2022, there are less than 500 days left, and Gradeup is here to guide you through the process, all through your process for UPSC preparation. And before we begin, we have the present Super Saving March, in which you can scratch and save almost up to 50%. You'll be getting a scratch card. So this is valid even for CSE 2022 and CSE 2021 and the EPFO exams. Okay. So let us begin today's class. It is basically from the chapter 8 of the economic survey. I hope you're aware the economic survey it's released before the budget, and it basically gives a primer of what has happened in the last year. And it also gives some very insightful statements about the present economy. Okay, this is the chapter 8, which has of volume 1, which has focused on this role of innovations. So I won't just tell you the chapter, I'll also tell you the background of it, okay, where it requires explanation, like the Atal Innovation Mission, certain aspects of innovation which are very important for our country. I'll be discussing them at length. Okay, so that for prelims come mains, any question which can be asked regarding our innovations can be answered by you. Okay, basically the economic survey has told that in India, jo bhi chalta hai, jugaad chalta hai. Okay, by frugal, we have the frugal inventions. Which are useful, but they are not scalable. Okay, they are not scalable, they can't be reproduced for a larger scale, and they won't give the proper profits. So they remain as frugal inventions. So we need to transfer them to innovations. Let us see how we can do that. But before we do, try to answer this question. It was asked in UPSC Prelims 2019. Atal Innovation Mission is set up under. No, Harshpreet, I didn't take the previous 7 chapters. Since I'm the faculty for science and technology, I have taken this chapter because it has a science angle to it. So I thought I'll discuss this chapter. Okay, so if you don't know this answer or this sounds new to you, don't worry. By the end of this class, you'll be able to answer this. So there are questions asked in prelims also directly based on the government schemes of innovation. That's what I wanted to tell you. So what do you actually understand by innovation? Innovations are your advancements, but it's important that these should be novel too. Okay, for example, can somebody tell me what is the difference between invention and innovation? Please tell me in the comments. There is a difference between invention and innovation. So as we are advancing with time, as we are getting more technology, it is not something about have we discovered something new. It is all about does it have utility? Okay, is it novel in nature? For example, you have patents. In patents, we have the proper conditions that they have to be usable. They have to be novel. Okay, they should have a creative step. So that is where the core of innovation lies. For example, we have the conventional computing system. Okay, if it is replaced by a quantum computing system in future, that is your innovation. For example, recently Google has launched the Sycamore. In 2019, they have launched the Sycamore, if you're aware of it. And this Sycamore, it has 54 qubits. But it could solve a computing problem which could take the Summit. The Summit is the fastest supercomputer of present day. It is designed by your IBM. So what will take the Summit a few days, that Sycamore can do it in few seconds. Okay, because it is not your normal bits. It is not in the form of normal 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. It's a normal bits nahi in the quantum computing. We have a combination of this. Okay, there is more than this one state. Okay, it can be both. It can include both 0, 1. ऐसा हो सकता है. Okay, so it's a complicated thing. You'll be studying under your quantum computing. I'll take a course on quantum computing also. You'll be knowing about that. So I just want to tell you that this is an innovation. Okay, there is a vast, you can see what would take the, most fastest supercomputer of IBM Summit under USA. It is done in few seconds. Actually, initially Google had told it'll take 1,000 years for the Summit to do that. But later IBM had told that not 1,000 years, it'll take us a few seconds. Sorry, few days. Right? So that is your innovation. No, Harshpreet, that is not the answer. Innovation is something, it is an useful invention. Okay, you can create some useless machines jiska koi use nahi hai. It has to be useful, then it becomes your innovation. And in India, in the Indian situation, if you see, we have 1.3 plus billion people, 1.4 plus million schools, and a lot of engineering colleges, very famous. Abhi to every street, we are having an engineering college, 150 plus million youth. So we need to understand that there is a lot of human capital in the country, and that can be translated to the innovation and entrepreneurship. And definitely India has been making strides. India, for example, we have entered the top 50 innovating countries for the first time under the Global Innovation Index. Okay, since 2007, first time India has come into the top 50. Okay, this Global Innovation Index, for example, it's given by your Cornell University, INSEAD, and World Intellectual Property Organization. Okay, which is actually a UN body, UN subsidiary body. So these three, they are involved in giving this Global Innovation Index, and India has ranked 48th in this. From 81st in 2015, we are ranked 48. So we are doing impressive performance. But if you compare with our neighbor, China, our rival neighbor, China, okay, we shouldn't be comparing with the Asian countries. For example, in the Asian countries, India has made the most significant development. We shouldn't be comparing with Pakistan, Bangladesh, and all these countries. Our aim should be China. China, you can see, from 29 in 2015, they have come to 14. Okay, so China has embarked on this ambitious R&D, and they have become an innovation-oriented economy. For example, in Jan 2006, they had launched the 15-year medium to long-term plan for development of science and technology. Okay, so they had launched that, and their aim was by 2020 we should have an innovation-oriented society, and we should become the world leader in science and tech by 2050. Okay, this was the aim of the MLP. Fine. So this committed China for developing the indigenous innovation of their country, and this was responsible for catapulting them into the top 14, top 20 they had gone. And the MLP, it uses R&D as an important instrument for development of your S&T ecosystem. Okay, we do have manpower. We have seen we do have manpower. It is not like we have a lesser population. Very soon India would be overtaking China by 2020, by 2035. We have seen reports. But we do have a lot of demographic dividend. For example, presently 65% of the population is less than 35 years. Okay, so we have a lot of youngsters, we have a lot of young minds, we have the demography, but there is something missing which we are not achieving this R&D excellence in India. The aspect of innovations is not coming up. So what are those issues? India has the gross domestic expenditure on R&D as the lowest among the top 10 economies. India is the fourth largest economy. We have overtaken France, and still, if you see in proportion to the GDP, the GERD, it is only 0.65. For the developed economies, it is 1.5 to 3%. Okay, now don't get confused between R&D and education. Education is different. Education, we need to have 6%. We are having roughly 2.53% presently. That is different. Education is until you're plus 2. You can say until you're plus 2, or maybe higher education also you can include into that. But this is R&D. So this is dealing with the scientific labs, the scientific ecosystem of the country. What is DRDL doing? What is the CSIR doing? What is the ICMR doing? ICAR doing? I'm talking of those. That is the R&D. And for example, if you compare with Israel, Israel has around 4%. So that's why, even though they are such a small country in such a tumultuous geographical condition in Middle East, still they are doing wonders, Israel. So primarily our spending is low. Then government only is taking the main lead. Government contributes to almost 56%, okay, which is 3 times the average of top 10 economies. Okay, government is contributing in personnel also 36%, researchers 23%. Okay, amongst the top 10 economies. In top 10 economies, it's more like a private-led development. Okay, but in India, it is government-led, because our whole issue is about Rozgar. Okay, our whole issue, for example, if we write the DRDO scientist exam or the ICAR examinations, it is not to do something for the R&D situation of the country. I mean, of course, there are a lot of people who do it for the R&D situation, but more so it is to gain an employment, right? So that's why we focus on the government sector. This dichotomy, I hope you can appreciate. The business sector's contribution to GERD is 37%, total R&D is 30%, and researchers is 34%. This is among the lowest. In top economies, if you see, it is almost 50%. Okay, over 50%, the private sector. So that is what the economic survey has been saying. The economic survey is saying that in India, we are having low spending. And another main issue is it is all government-led. It is all government-led, and the private sector is not living up to its name. We don't have enough startups, enough entrepreneurship skills, enough incubators dealing with the problem. And another main important is the women in S&T. Women, they constitute for 50% of the population. And if you see, over 1/3 of the women, they graduate, but only 15 to 20% they become tenured faculty in the research institutes. So 50% of population, but it's becoming only 15%. So women are severely underrepresented. And even the representation which is there, it is there only in the junior level jobs, in the junior ad hoc facility. So women, they're underrepresented. And technically, if you see, I mean, not from a patriarchal mindset, but most women would also prefer to do something in R&D, okay, because it may not involve a lot of field exposure and all. But still, that is not happening because to patriarchal norms, because of handling the family, because of having a career break, okay, and generally women get married out after their graduation and post-graduation. They are not represented into the R&D institutes, and there is some sort of patriarchy in the appointments of the institutional structures. So all that is there. Okay, it's a different issue, women in S&T, but definitely that is also contributing. So what is the government doing related to this? The government is doing the Vaishvik Bharat Vaigyanik Summit. Okay, actually a lot of such schemes, they have been mentioned in economic surveys, so they're important. So in this, we have called overseas Indian origin academicians and Indians. They participated to form ideas for the innovative solutions for several challenges. Okay, it was done in October 2020. and it was inaugurated by our Prime Minister. Okay, the Vaishvik Bharatiya Vaigyanik Summit. So हमने इसमें यही किया था. We have got from the foreign, overseas, non-resident scientists, and they were involved. The ones, for example, you see in NASA, you see world over several institutions in MIT, Stanford, and all. They're mostly Indians, the researchers who are doing. So we have got them as a knowledge-sharing exercise. Similarly, a RAISE summit was conducted. It is for using artificial intelligence for social empowerment. Inclusion, transformation in healthcare, agriculture, finance, education, smart mobility, ये सब के लिए we have done. Then Ministry of Education also has undertaken the 2020, till 2020 we had the Decade of Innovation. They had an MHRD Innovation Cell and an ARIA, Atal Ranking of Institutes on Innovation Achievements. So this were done by the Ministry of Education. Okay, earlier it was the MHRD. Actually now its name has changed to Ministry of Education. I hope you're aware. In November, they have changed the name of HRD to Education. So they want the creation of 1,000 institute innovation centers to have a new India on the likes of Stanford and MIT. So this also they're doing. And there is a big scheme, okay, Biotechnology Ignition Grant. So if you're having a biotechnology related startup, if you want to maybe have some research in gene editing, gene therapy, okay, stem cell research in the country. So for those startups, they have launched this big scheme. Then Future Skills Platform. Okay, we have seen that the present IT crowd which we are having, they're mostly involved in coding. Okay, code testing, code making. Okay, or they're involved in the cyber security. All the blue collar level jobs of IT they are involved in. But the next decade is all about data science. It's all about artificial intelligence, machine learning, neuro-linguistic programming. So those future skills would be imbibed in this Future Skills platform. Okay, capacity building platform. And for women, we have launched the Kiran. So it was for providing avenues to women scientists for capacity building. And in October 2020, the SARB, which comes under the Department of Science and Technology, it has launched the Power Scheme. Okay, you're promoting opportunities for women in exploratory research. So it is to mitigate the gender disparity. It will give fellowships. It will give fellowships and research grants. I mean, this is just the gist of economic survey which I prepared. So you don't have to read the economic survey, this part. Just this slides, if you can take screenshots or if you can make notes, it's enough. Okay. There are some Smart India hackathons where students, they're given some problems like urban housing problems, Swachh Bharat hackathon. So they can come up with solutions in that, some innovative solutions in that. And the most important scheme we are having is the Atal Innovation Mission. Okay, to promote innovation and entrepreneurship situation in the country. What is this Atal Innovation Mission? It is a holistic framework to achieve two objectives. One is at the school level, one is at the university and industry level. At the school level, there is creation of innovative problem-solving mindset in the students. And at the university level, it is for growing number of startups. As I've told you, some biotechnology startups, some data science startups, some IoT startups, all of them, they would be supported under the Atal Innovation Mission. Okay, this is launched by Niti Aayog. Right, it doesn't come under the Ministry of Science and Technology, it comes under Niti Aayog. And at the school level, as I told you, the intervention is Atal Tinkering Labs. So practical knowledge, access to tinkering with the latest tools and igniting the imagination of children is the meaning. Presently, we are having 5,441 plus Atal Tinkering Labs in 715 districts across the country. Okay, mainly in the district headquarters. If you are staying in Delhi, if you have any nephews or niece who are studying, you can ask. Their school might have an Atal Tinkering Lab. So in that, they actually learn hands-on. They learn the various upcoming technologies. They learn about 5G technology, the 3D printing, okay, basic data science, right? So all those emerging technologies, they would be taught. This is, for example, a 3D printing machine, which you can see. So emerging technologies, they would be taught to children at the school level. Okay, for example, the economic survey mentions that some 10th grade girl students from a government school, they have been able to develop a solar panel IoT device-based irrigation management and water conservation from their exposure in the Atal Tinkering Labs. And another student from the Atal Tinkering Labs, they were the winner of World Robotics Olympiad, okay, where they had a robotic waste segregation and management system. So this is how you're improving innovation. These are innovations, having Internet of Things based device for your irrigation management. So you can sit at your home and by your smartphone, you can press the button, and in the field, the water pump can be switched on. Okay, in the night time, instead of going switching on the motor during odd times, this Internet of Things connect can be done. This was done by 10th grade girl students. Okay, World Robotics Olympiad, we were, our children, they had represented with this robotic waste segregation management system. Yes, Nandini, this generation is actually lucky. But for the future generation, this is what you have to write. Innovation situation in the country. And for the university and engineering level, there is the Atal Incubators Initiative to create world-class incubators for the startups, because the startups, what they're having, presently they are not having much funding issues. Okay, they are easily finding, of course, after COVID-19, I can't say much, but they have good access to your angel investors, to the government funded schemes, to the Startup India, Stand Up India, and the clearance system are also fine. But what they're lacking is in the capacity building, okay, the knowledge ecosystems. So there are something called as incubators, in which they'll get access to the technology labs, hiring, training, mentoring. So they'll be connected to a mentor. If, for example, you're doing a startup in maybe food science, okay, so you'll be connected to maybe your Tata Foods, okay, or Nestle Foods, who can give you some mentoring support. That is your incubators. So the long-term vision of this Atal incubators is to have world-class incubators in top 10 academic and engineering institutions for every state and in every city, which was a smart city. Okay, these targets also you should remember. Top 10 academic and engineering institutes in every state and in every city. Okay, so those are Atal incubators. And similarly, as I told you, Atal tinkering challenges we have, and New India challenges at industry levels, small business innovation and research challenges. So what are the groundbreaking researches which are going on presently? For example, in COVID-19 vaccine, there was a hackathon. There was a challenge which was put up, and many people had submitted their ideas, how to develop a vaccine. So, and similarly, 24 Atal New India challenges were there in drinking water and sanitation, urban housing, climate smart agriculture, rail safety. All these aspects, they were new technologies. So in that way, we can have Atal challenges. Fine. So these are the ones for which we have the government schemes which they have mentioned in the economic survey. And they have also given some solutions. The first one obviously is we have to compete on innovation with the top 10 economies. Because economic survey notes, after the pandemic, the supply chain, how they're working, it might undergo a change. Okay. For example, now the supply chains, they're all built around China. Okay, China is the one which is dealing with all the supply chains, but many European countries, they're trying to move out of China. So that opportunity or that bus we should not miss, because very easily that bus can be taken up by the ASEAN. For example, in that Global Innovation Index, Vietnam ranks much higher than India. Okay, Vietnam is at a higher ranking, though Vietnam, traditionally it is seen as a low developed country. So they're giving a lot of stress on R&D and innovation. So India can take advantage of this, and they can come up with the performance linked initiatives, the performing linked incentive scheme, which was there under the Atmanirbhar Bharat. So if you're producing more, if you're manufacturing more under the phased manufacturing programs, you get some incentive, especially in mobile sector, in electronic sectors, in your textile sectors. Okay, in textile sectors also there was a Mitra scheme in the budget. Okay, so all such PLI, I think you'll be studying in your economy also. So those have to be augmented. That is what the economic survey has noted. And definitely there should be funding, better funding. From the 0.65, we should raise it to at least maybe 2 to 3%, we should raise it. And the performance of the institutions, business sophistication, innovation inputs, so ICAR, ICMR, they should work towards increasing innovations in agriculture, in the medical technologies. The DRDO should work on innovations in better human resource management. Rather than just seeing it as an employment, we should see it as a proper career option. And the area of STEM, okay, your science, technology, engineering, and mathematics should be looked as a passion. rather than just a career option. And India's resident share in total patents, it is only 36%, and average for top 10 economies is around 62%. Okay, so most of the patents which are done, they're not by the resident Indians. The NRIs in USA, in UK, in Germany, France, and Australia, they're doing it. So this has to increase. Okay, so these are the broad solutions which were given by the Economic Survey of India. All right. And the conclusion they are giving is India got left behind in the Industrial Revolution, but India, the last Industrial Revolution was what? It was a digital revolution. Okay, digital electronics revolution. But now we have a unique opportunity. We are having 65% less than 35 years. So we should use it as a knowledge-based revolution, and Atal Innovation Mission and other initiatives are important and have to be embraced by all. So a sample mains question for you. The innovation situation of the scientific ecosystem is the primer for the fourth industrial revolution and the emerging technologies. Critically analyze. So how will you approach this question? And before we approach, I hope you know critically analyze. What is the meaning of critically analyze? Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of critically analyze? अर्चना पांडे जी, कीर्ति, प्रीति कौशिक जी, ये जो क्लास में है, this is an English class. Okay, Hindi medium का there is a different class. Okay, free classes are there. This is primarily an English class. अगर आपको कहीं दिक्कत हो रहा है, if some term you are not able to understand, you can tell me. I'll tell you आपको हिंदी में. But the whole scheme of the class is structured in English. Okay, it's not a bilingual class. Please tell me, what do you understand by critically analyze? Yes, that's very good, Nandini. You should look in you should look in all dimensions and express your views. Okay. Some people feel that critically means you have to give a negative aspect to it. Okay, that everything is not fine, there is a negative aspect to it. Iska kya negative bologe aap? Innovation situation is a primer for fourth industrial revolution, emerging technologies. Can you negate this? Can you say that no, we don't need innovation? Okay, you can't say that. So remember that critically does not always mean something negative. Critically means seeing all dimensions, going deeper. Critically kya hota hai? Critical surgery kya hota hai? Critical surgery is something you have a more deep, invasive surgery. Okay, so you have to go deeper into the solution. Of course, when you go deeper, you might find the positives and negatives, but it's not compulsory that you'll always find negatives. So this question, for example, you should give an intro. Introduction of, actually you should give an intro here about the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, we have 4 industrial revolutions. The first industrial revolution was based on coal energy. Then the second industrial revolution was based on your electrical sector. Okay, the role of electrical innovations. Third was more to do with the digital electronics. The fourth industrial revolution, it is cyber physical. Okay, there is a physical ecosystems, and that physical ecosystem is connected to the cyber. Your Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, IoT. Okay, all of this, they come under the fourth industrial revolution. Your robotics, AI, they are the most advanced sort of, where there is a connect between the digital and the physical. That is your fourth industrial revolution. So you should give an intro like that, and then you should immediately shift to the innovation. What is innovation? And what is the role of innovation? So in that, in your body, you should focus on, in India, what is the situation? Okay, in India, we have so much manpower, so many bright minds, so many institutions, but somewhere we are faltering. Okay, somewhere we are not getting industry ready. You can see the R&D funding is not much. The women's proportion is much low. People are seeing as a career option. It is a government-led. All of those you should focus. So some issues and the importance. Then in your pre-conclusion, okay, actually in body, sometimes and critically, you also write the negative parts, the positives and negatives. But here, there is no negative. Innovation is always good. the pre-conclusion, you need to link this innovation with fourth industrial revolution, okay? Because that is the main aspect of the question. Okay, innovation plus fourth industrial revolution. So because you need higher skills, and the present day skills and present day employment of the country, they may not be properly relevant, है ना? जो data science, जो अभी coding कर रहे हैं लोग, या अभी manufacturing, rote manufacturing which they're doing, that is not feasible for the coming generations. So that's why for the fourth industrial revolution, there should be role of innovation. So you can give some case studies, like how the girls, children of the 10th class, they have developed for the World Robotics Olympiads. So that is what the future should hold. And ultimately, you should give the conclusion that we had missed the bus of the third industrial revolution and others. So for now, we need Atal Innovation Mission, the Vaigyanik, okay, different schemes of the government also you should mention. Okay, your conclusion should be heavy and dealing with the government orientation. Government क्या कर रहा है? हाँ, मैं देखा हूँ सुरेश कुमार. I have also clarified that it's not a Hindi medium class, right? So that is how you should approach a question. So for example, in this year mains, there might be this question. Okay, every year we are seeing questions directly picked from the Economic Survey of India. Okay, especially if you are reading for Indian Economic Service, they actually mug up the Economic Survey. 100% all the questions come from the ESI. And mains also, we are seeing every year 2 to 3 questions from the Budget and Economic Survey. So from this chapter, you can have questions like this. Also read all the chapters and try to have this sort of view. Okay, just don't read the facts, figures and just get lost into that. Try to see what type of questions can be asked. In an interrogative sense, you have to read the Economic Survey. Okay, so if you like the class, please like, comment, share and subscribe, and please help this channel grow. And I hope you got a good orientation. Of course, all of you must be preparing for 2022. So this is how you should approach your questions in mains. Okay, and this is how you should also make your notes. If there is something on innovation, you should have an intro ready. You should have the relevant facts. Okay, you should have the problems. You have the government schemes and what is the way forward. If you can have this sort, any question related to R&D, to the scientific situation of the country, to the women in S&T, to your innovation, to the knowledge-based economy, to the startups. For all these questions, see the fodder material is same. Okay, you don't mug up the questions for mains. You need to have a proper fodder material in the most important core areas, and that you can reproduce in different answers. Okay, in different areas. Of course, this is generic, but it's important fodder material. Okay, and people watching on YouTube, please download the Gradeup app, because on Gradeup app we have the free sessions on an hourly basis. Okay, for example, this class, it will be taken up every day at 8 p.m. the target UPSC 2022 for beginners. And we are having ongoing courses on the Gradeup. We are having the IAS 2021 crash course for prelims. And today we have launched a new crash course. You can download the Gradeup app. You can see the crash course. There is also a free trial, so you can try it out for some days before actually joining it. You'll see how properly we have structured the course. What is the syllabus? What are the faculty? The notes, the material. Okay, the quizzes. With every class, there is a quiz. For quick revision of your prelims, this will be very relevant for you. And for 2022, obviously, we have the foundation course in both Hindi and English. It started in Feb 26. So just recently it started. You can go through that. And the EPFO revision course also we started yesterday, March 3rd. And we have also started another NCRT course. So actually, you don't have to worry about joining different courses, because by taking one Gradeup Super subscription, you'll get access to all the courses. Okay, all the different courses you'll be getting with just one subscription. Okay, there is no need to purchase separate courses. So please speak to our counselors on this number, and we have the various faculty who teach the various subjects. You can go through, and we also come for the free classes. I hope you met most of us. Fine. And also download the Telegram app. On the Telegram app, you can connect with us. It will be a good social media sort of group rather than wasting your time on other groups. This is only for study purposes. You can interact with the faculty also on the Gradeup IAS preparation. Okay. So that's it friends. Download the Gradeup app, practice topic wise quizzes, keep attending the live classes. क्योंकि सही प्रेप है तो लाइफ सेट है ना? So Shri, yes, for the Hindi medium also we have the Hindi and English medium. There are 2 batches. So you can see under the Hindi medium, there are classes exclusively in that bilingual medium. Okay. Chalo, thank you so much, Pankaj. Thank you, Bishwaroop. Surshri Nandini. Yeah, Bishwaroop, for NCRT also we have notes. In the NCRT classes, after every class you get the notes. Okay, just that is enough. You don't have to make any separate notes. The notes which we give you after NCRT class is more than enough. Alright. Chalo, thank you so much. I'll meet you again next week, same time for another class of CSE 2022. Bye-bye and take care. All the very best.